Change your personality and you change your life. It seems that every person comes to this world with a personality problem that he is here to understand and work through. When he has done so, he knows peace and joy and remember his real self. All my life I have had anger issue. That anger is rooted in my desire for a grand and powerful self. When that desired big ego self feels that other people said or did something that belittled it, it feels narcissistic rage. In anger it says awful nasty things to the person it feels demeaned. In anger, one can be verbally if not physically destructive. To have anger one must desire a big and powerful ego self. One does not have a big and powerful ego self. No one has a big and powerful ego self. A big and powerful ego self is what one desires and identifies with but does not have it. If you desire a big ego, when people seem to say or do stuff that makes you feel belittled, you feel angry. The lesson of anger is for you to learn to give up the wish for a big ego self. If you have no desire for a big ego self, there is nothing that other people can say or do that would make you feel belittled. If you have no desire for a grand and powerful ego, you would no longer feel belittled and angry, you would only know peace and joy. The lesson of my life is to understand the ego, give the ego up and no longer know anger and know peace and joy. Knowing peace and joy is the best way to live. In peace and joy, one is now ready to return to the awareness of one's real self, the Son of God who is one with God and all his creations. Unforgiving nature and anger. When I was prone to anger, I used to be an unforgiving person. If you did something that made my narcissistic ego feel demeaned, I would bear grudge against you. I did not let go easily. I bore grievance and sought vengeance and revenge against those that I felt demeaned my great ego. Then I began thinking about forgiveness. What is better, to forgive or to seek revenge? It is childish to seek revenge, it is adult to forgive. If you can truly forgive a person, you feel harmed you would experience peace. The more I thought about it, the more that I realized that given what I know about the human condition, we live in pain and suffering. The only correct attitude to another human being, black or white, man or woman, adult or child, is love. One must love all human beings and not add to their suffering. To love requires one to forgive whatever wrong one believes that other people did to one. In my own case, folks have not really done what folks call bad things to me. As I look at my life, I could consider myself blessed. I have not known poverty or some of the things that people go through. The only issue that I have had is my pride. I am amazingly proud. I am very egotistical and easily feel degraded and react with anger. Then it occurred to me that it is childishness that makes me feel important, hence react with anger at those who did not acknowledge my supposed big self. Maturity accepts that one and all people are the same, and co-equal. No human being is ever better or worse than other people. If we are all equal, then I have no business seeking to be elevated to an exalted position, hence feel belittled when I am not treated like a powerful self. Family of proud people. I am like my grandfather, a strong man. The man would punish you if you dared say something that made him feel demeaned. But didn't I see that quality in him to be immature? Didn't I feel ashamed of the way he treated those below him in the social pecking order? If so, why should I do what he did? Medically caused sense of inferiority and desire for false superiority. I decided to understand why folks in my kindred are prone to anger and correct it. We inherited some biological issues that make us feel weak and powerless, and we react with compensatory desire for power. In Alfred Adler's psychological terms, we are neurotic. A neurotic is a person who feels inferior and compensates with obsessive-compulsive desire to seem powerful. In contemporary psychiatry, the psychoanalytic concept of neurosis is called personality disorders. My MMPI personality test and WAIS tests say that I have aspects of narcissistic and avoidant personality disorders and IQ in the 140s range. In pursuit of his desired sense of importance, the neurotic accomplishes a lot in life. I dare say that no other family in my part of the world, or for that matter, anywhere, is as accomplishing as my kindred. We have medical doctors, engineers, research scientists, and professors at the best universities of the world. We are driven to succeed. No one who is over age 25 in my kindred is not a university graduate, and this is in a continent with many folks who have not even gone to elementary school. The Osugis are driven by neurotic demons to accomplish stuff and do so, but we pay a stiff price. We remain emotionally immature. Thus, I resolved that I must overcome our Osuji and Yoku immaturity, especially our tendency to pride and anger. The quest for the answer to our issues not only took me to Western psychology but to Oriental religions. Let me see what Hinduism says on this matter. Dreamless state and unified self. In certain parts of our sleeping, we dream and can remember what we dreamed. In dreaming sleep, our day personality is acting itself in the dream. There is continuity between one's day personality and one's sleeping and dreaming ego. In other parts of our sleeping, we do not dream and or do not remember what happened during that time. So, where were we during our dreamless states when we are sleeping? Hinduism says that during dreamlessness in our sleeping states we have stopped identifying with the ego and its body and returned to unified states, aka God. God is not a dream state, as is our day and sleeping personality, and cannot be understood with the categories of the ego, our world. Thus, we do not remember what happened when we are in God, that is, in sleep dreamless state. In dreamless sleep we forget the ego and its body and return to eternal union with God. Where was one during surgery? During surgery one is given anesthetic medication and one does not remember being part of one's body and ego personality as it is operated on by surgeons. When one comes out of the anesthesia one remembers one's body and ego self and resumes living as one's personality, one's body, and ego. Where were one during the period that one did not remember that one is one's body and ego during surgery? Was one dead? If one was dead, why was it possible for one to regain awareness of one's old personality, ego, and body when the anesthetic medications wear off? One must have just left one's body and ego during the surgery. Where is one during death? Hinduism says that death is like dreamless state. When we die our minds are said to stop identifying with our egos and bodies and go to a different world that our ego and body cannot know about. We stay in that world and then decide to return to Jivatman. Atman is God, Jivatman is individualized God, Son of God. So, we leave unified Brahman and manifest as Jivatman in body and are born on earth. On earth we form the ego, Ahankara. The ego is a shadow of the Jivatman, the human personality is the shadow of the real self, Jivatman, the Son of God. We choose our bodies, parents, society, and personality. Hinduism says that we choose our parents to give us our bodies, and that we choose our society, and choose the era of history in which we are born. We do so to give us the opportunity to manifest as ego personalities that would give us opportunity to continue learning about whatever ego problem we had in past lives. In this light, I had anger and pride problems in past lives and chose my current problematic body that frustrates me, chose my parents, chose to be born in a world where white people screw black people, and all these are meant to make me feel angry. I formed a big self and that big self made me aware of other people's put-downs and I feel belittled and angry. The goal is for me to understand my personality and then give up my wish for the big ego self and no longer desire pride and big self, hence no longer feel angry. That is, I chose a body and social experience that would make me angry, and I feel angry. The longer-term goal is to understand what is going on and jettison the ego and no longer feel angry and thereafter know peace and joy and return to egoless unified self, God. When I give up the ego, big self, and anger I return to unified self and is God enlightened. The objective of my life's mission is first to set up a scenario where I seek a big ego and in seeking it what other people do make me feel belittled, hence angry. When I give up the desired big and powerful ego and its pride, I would no longer be prone to anger. I would return to the awareness of me as Jivatman, a son of God who is one with God, one with Brahman, hence become God enlightened. Without a prideful ego, and its allied anger. One returns to awareness that one is part of God and is now enlightened and illuminated to one's real self that one had masked with the desire for the false, big ego self. Thus, the purpose of my life is to awaken to my real self, the Son of God, who is one with God. I set up the obstacles of desiring a big ego, pride, and anger, and in overcoming those remember my always their real self. Conclusion. Let me say that nothing said in this piece suggests that if one has anger issue that one should not go to what is called anger management classes. Over the years I have given my fair share of anger management classes. If you have serious anger issues, please take anger management class. Then add what you gleaned from this essay to the stuff they teach you in anger management, stuff like counting to 10 before you talk, breathing deeply, walking away from the stimulus that made you angry, and taking responsibility for your behavior regardless of what the other person said. I'm merely adding metaphysics to secular psychological approach to human understanding. I do not reject psychology and psychiatry, I merely add spirituality to them. Please use what you gleaned from this piece to try to understand you. I write to help folks to understand themselves, for as Socrates said, an unexamined life is not worth living. April 16, 2021. Dream. The white polar bear that was not chasing me. In this dream I was in a living room, there were other people with me in the room. The door to the bedroom opened and a white polar bear came out. No other person in the living room was afraid of the bear, but I was afraid. I climbed to the top of a table in the middle of the living room waiting for the bear to leave before I could get down. It, instead, laid down under the table. Since I was intending to leave the room, I kept looking under the table to see if it is leaving, so I could not leave the room. I wondered why the other people in the room were not afraid of the polar bear. Finally, I jumped down from the table and sprint out of the room, running towards my village and looking back to see if the bear is pursuing me, and no bear was pursuing me, and I woke up, kind of feeling like a fool who thought that a bear was pursuing me while none was doing so. Meaning of the dream, lesson to be learned from it. There seem like there is an external bear, people, danger, obstacle preventing me from doing whatever I want to do. I look around and see what seems like the actual source of danger, white bear, a source of danger that did not threaten other people in the same world with me. Then I ran towards home thinking that the bear/danger is still threatening me, pursuing me, only to look back and see no bear, no danger. The dream symbolizes that there are no external threats to me, and to the extent that I see threat, it is my mind that produced it. Take away fear from my mind and I live fully, that is the idea. Dreams are obviously produced by the individual's mind to teach him a lesson about his life. They are not meant for other people, other people's minds produce their own dreams for them. By the same token, visions, and revelations from God to the individual is for him, although he could share them with other people, and they could learn from him. I am sharing this dream although the message is specifically for me, to overcome my belief that an external threat keeps me from doing whatever I want to do, and that the threat is in my mind, is not real, and that I must go do whatever I want to do without populating the world with seeming real dangers to paralyze me. The dream can be of help to other people, to those who believe that they are held down by external dangers but in fact are held down by what is in their mind, fear. Remove the fear in your mind that is holding you down and live fully. That is the lesson of the dream for me and possibly for you.